doing something else for a living. Something ordinary, like being a librarian or a bookkeeper. She smiled and thought, ordinary might be nice. She would have to be very careful, though, with these people. However they were planning to use this information, it was clearly of deadly importance. Important enough to kill over, she suspected. Back to work. She lazily traced her fingernails over his chest. You're not, like, in danger or anything, are you? I mean, from cancer or anything? Well,
Keep
no,
right.
he said. Not really. I guess there's some risk, but they've got protocols and rules and regulations, enough that you'd have to really screw up to get hurt. So it's never happened to anyone? Sure, but usually it's dumb stuff, like some guy getting his foot run over by a forklift or choking on nachos in the cafeteria. We've had a couple of close calls in other places, but that was usually because somebody tried to cut a corner. And even when that
Continue
happens,
en
there are
route.
backup systems and procedures. Believe me, babe, I'm pretty safe. Good. I'm glad. I hate to think of you hurt or sick. That's not going to happen, Allie. I'm very careful. We'll see, she thought. Jack Jr. pressed himself flat against the wall and slid forward along it, feeling the splinters in the rough plank boards catch on his shirt. He reached the corner and stopped, weapon held in the Weaver stance double-handed grip, barrel pointed downward. Not like Hollywood or cop TV shows, he thought, where they carry the gun pointed barrel up beside their faces. Sure, it looked cool. Nothing framed the hero's lantern jaw and steely blue eyes like a chunky Glock. But this wasn't about cool. This was about staying alive and putting down the bad guys. Growing up in the White House, surrounded by Secret Service pros who knew guns better than they knew their own kids, certainly had its advantages, didn't it? The problem with the Hollywood model of gun handling was twofold: sight picture and ambush. Real-world combat handgunning was about shooting straight and true under pressure, and that, in turn, was all about mindset and sight picture. The former was about conditioning, the latter, mechanics. It was a lot easier and a lot more effective to bring the weapon up, get a good sight picture of the target, and snap off a shot than it was doing it in the reverse. The other factor, the ambush, was all about what happens when you turn a corner to find yourself face to face with the bad guy. Do you want your gun up by your face? Or do you want it down, where you might, just might, have a chance to snap off a shot into the guy's legs before he tackles you, and the situation devolves into a no-holds-barred wrestling match? That didn't happen very often, of course, but as far as Jack was concerned, and as far as real shooters were concerned, it was much better to be wrestling a bad guy who had a 9mm slug or two in his leg than not. Theory, Jack, he reminded himself, returning to the here and now. Theories are for the classroom, not the real world. Where the hell was Dominic? They'd separated at the front door, Dominic moving right to take the house's back rooms, potentially more heavy rooms, Jack to the left, heading for the more open kitchen and living room. Don't worry about Dominic, worry about you. His cousin was FBI, at least officially, so he needed no lessons on this stuff. Jack changed the gun to his left hand, dried his palm on his pants leg, and changed it back again. He took a breath, took a short step back, then peeked his head around the corner. Kitchen, refrigerator.